Good morning. It is the first Sunday in May, and I'm headed back to the Juniata, but I'm gonna go to a section that is above Raystown Lake. So somewhere right below Raystown, the river combines with the Frankstown branch, and it, I don't know, roughly doubles in size. So what I'm going to be in today is kind of further up into the mountains, and I think higher gradient from what I can tell. So there's probably some bigger ledge drops, more white water, a little bit smaller. Should be interesting. So we've had some pretty rough thunderstorms yesterday afternoon and overnight, and I've looked at the gauges. You know, Raystown has released some water, but that doesn't really tell me much on the water clarity above it. And I've crossed the Conicajig on the way up. It didn't look up and muddy, but then I crossed the West Conicajig, West Branch, and that for sure looked brown. So I don't know what I'm going to get when I come up here, because I don't know. Like, I looked for the gauge above the lake, and I don't know that I didn't see it. There's got to be one. It just didn't pop up when I did a search. So we'll see. We get what we get, and I don't really know I'm just figuring this out myself. So I'm going actually to what's marked on Onyx as a carry-in site, a hand carry launch. So we'll see if that actually pans out, or whether I have to go. I'm actually putting in the lower section close to the lake. If I have to, I'll go to the Army Corps of Engineers launch and put in the lake and run up. We'll see. There's so much more to this river above there, and I just figured, lower end might be good for some of those lake fish running up in that flow in the spring. Well, let's get it off. I mean, sure, it's a hand carry place, but not accessible. Bummer. Okay, let's look for plan B. Oh, I'm on these tight little roads. This is how we learn the the little out of the way put-ins. We'll see if this one. I'm actually going to the not an out of the way put-in. I'm gonna go to the state park and see if that works. Okay, well, clearly not for trailered boats. I think I can get through there though. Nice. All right, the muddy water means that it's jackhammer time. I'm throwing on a gold. It's the Gold Shiner 3/8. I don't want it real heavy. It's not a real strong current, and I don't know they have a whole lot of depth here, so I don't need, I don't need the half. I'm gonna start with the 3/8. But it's nice to wait, and that's a diesel minnow in redfish toad. Nice combo. All right, these little things here, these little foam balls that have the drop shot keeper. That's actually not the one I want to use. I wait until I'm at the water to put these on. These are my retrieving bait rods, and these basically reel all the way up to the tip, and that way I get to the water, I make an assessment based on how much flow, how much turbidity. In this case, it's fairly muddy. It's still barely on the green side of things, but I've assessed that this is the bait, rather than just keeping whatever on there and then saying, I'm going to chuck this a few times, which in this case is the, what did I have on this one last time? This one I kept on there. Can I catch fish on that? Probably, but you know what? Let's get in the jackhammer right now. The other thing I didn't previously had tied on because I was fishing much clearer water last time was the black finesse jig. I haven't decided what trailer I'm going to put on this yet. Like I said, it's turbid, but it's not totally mucky muddy. It's right on the edge of brown and green from those storms, and you know, some bat wings, maybe the baby goats. I like that a lot. I'm using those more and more. Maybe the trick shot. Trick shot's a really good one. It's kind of that long tail Mad Tom with the ribs. It looks like a Mad Tom to me in the water, but whatever. It starts with black finesse jig. I actually made a whole pile of them yesterday. Had to stock back up after Dwarshak. I ran out of brown ones, but brown's not the color today. It's black. I like to take the two little feet and cut that. A lot of times I will trim the body by a third to a half. I'm going to leave it full length for, no I'm not. I'm just going to trim a little bit. I'm not going to totally chop it. I'm going to chop a little bit. By the time you add the jig head on, it makes it longer than it should be for a craw profile. I still want it taking up a good bit of space, but like, I don't know. I just cut a quarter of the length of the body. I like the width of the baby goat, or the billy goat, or even the palmetto bugs. It helps protect the hook from rolling over and digging into wood. It gives it that sort of four-wheel drive capability that my finesse jig already has. This just adds to it. Ooh, I even put a little hook keeper on this one, or a plastic keeper. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've done that batch. It's such a hassle. But yeah, that'll be nice. That'll keep this bait from riding up the hook. Alright, that just needs a little liquid mayhem and we're good to go. You gotta get the squishy stinky on there. Gotta give him the fish barbecue sauce. Alright, one more bait to add, and that's gonna be a very dark crankbait. You know, straining water and banging around. Good game plan for this muddy water. Starting off with that gold jackhammer. I do have that dark crankbait up front as well. And I think I'm gonna run up. You know, there's a good bit of river that actually winds back and forth in these steep little mountain canyons here. So it's a little bit after 8 a.m. I got up. Oh, look at that cool bus up in the woods. That's neat. It's old. I got up pretty much right at 4. And it's like a 2-hour and 20-minute drive up here is what I think it told me. And I don't know where the other 100 minutes went. Like, where does that time go? Is it unloading? I think it is. I think that's a big part of it. Is it the extra time that it takes to film things? Maybe. Some of it was, hey, I went to a launch that didn't really work. I don't know. But that goal of, hey, let's decrease how much time it takes to unload and get your stuff ready. That is center plate what I'm doing with Steve Carroll, designing solutions to decrease that time, to make it so you don't have to be, I mean, I bet you I was probably 35 minutes getting my stuff ready, maybe more. It takes time. You don't realize it, but it steals your fishing time away from you. And we're going to create solutions that decrease that with, you know, gear transportation organization and gear security solutions, both on the trailer and in the truck bed. You know, if you're not a trailer guy, keep watching. It's going to be some cool stuff coming. Crank it. Got 3 rods up front, jackhammer, gold jackhammer, finesse jig, crankbait. Gotta figure out which is gonna get it done. That was a bump. On the jackhammer, I keep rotating through all 3 baits, and one smacked it but didn't eat it. Alright, I've worked this pool right at the foot end for far too long. It's time to get out, get away from where everyone can easily access, which is, you know, right here in the state park. Getting away from pressure, especially the kind of pressure that brings in night crawler containers and chicken liver buckets. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that they harvest anything. I'll let you in on something. My balance is not what it used to be. I turned 50 later this year, and I've started doing balance exercises when I'm at home to help me with that kind of stuff. And it does help. It strengthens your ankles. Let me show you what that looks like. You just go on one foot and you try to make a T shape. And then you go forward. You're up to the side. Try to swing it over this way. I'm doing pretty good right now, but when I first started doing it, I was just falling over. So losing strength as you get older, balance strength, ankle strength is part of that. And I don't know, I've done what I can. There's nothing at the gym other than like the calf raises, which is pure strength, that helps with that, those little balance muscles in your lower leg and your feet. So that's what I've been doing. Alright, got one on the jackhammer. Nice little, I don't know, 13-incher maybe.
Already working on the plan. Part of the reason that I moved it in back to the spring from the end of the year right at the trail is to give me that off-season time, finalization. We're going to do some test and evaluation of it through the late summer, early fall, and into winter. So we're going to have a whole plan for live streaming the 10. And the thing about the 10 is we're going to have gotten those people enough exposure from the end of the season through when the 10 happens that there's going to be enough people vested in who wins that they'll actually watch it, right?
Right.
Whereas, and then we're going to have an hourly payout versus an overall payout. And so therefore, there's a reason to keep watching because it's not about who's going to win the whole tournament. It's about who's going to win that hour. And I think that when we broadcast it that way, and we come down to the end of the hour, right, guys got 5 minutes left at the end of the hour. Jody Queen is, sitting in big bass right now with a 20-incher, but any cast could produce a bigger fish. And oh, dude, it's 158. Gene Jensen's hooked up,
Yeah, so I caught 2 on the finesse jig while I was chatting with Chad. I texted him shortly after 4 a.m. with this thought, this frustration, honestly, of why does everyone turn off the leaderboards? And the equivalent, what I had said is, hey, how much ad revenue would be lost if the NFL just didn't show the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and said, hey, everyone tune in to us awarding the Lombardi Trophy, right? That's what we do. That's what kayak fishing has done. And he kind of gave me the backstory on why that became a practice, which is silly. It's something that, people started doing, and then that was just what you did, which is totally destroys it being a spectator sport, which I want to be the spectator. I know that Trey and his son Quaden were doing well on a MAKBF tournament yesterday, and basically that's a good fish. And I wanted to see how they were doing, and the leaderboard was shut off. So, and why? It's a 2-day tournament and it's cumulative. Why do we turn that off? Why can't I see how my buddy is doing? I want to follow, but nope, went dark. Results are off, and and so's the jig. The jig just popped out there, but hey, it's a nice fish. Check that out. All right, we'll get a quick measure on this guy and then put him back. So finesse jig here at the head of this island is it's doing good. Wet the board. Finesse jig was just sitting there. He's not quite 17 for sure. 16 3/4. Nice. All right. See ya. Little guy. Little guy. Nothing's running at me. Oh, hi. You're pretty healthy. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good one. Very good one. All right. Very nice. Long fish hitting the finesse jig. Get a measurement on him, and get him back in pretty quick. All right, what we got? 19 anyways. Looks like, yeah, 19 and a half. 19 and a half, not terribly heavy though. I wonder, is this a lake fish that runs up here in the spring? We're not that far from the lake, and it's a possibility. Cool. See you, guy. Alright, got a couple nice ones here at the head of this island. We're gonna keep moving upstream and figure out, man, can we get them on a moving bait? I mean, get good ones. There's one. Nope, that's a rock. Well, I can snag the bottom on a moving bait for sure. I tell you, I modify pretty much every bait I throw. I like to tinker. I like to make my own stuff, but occasionally hit rocks. Occasionally there's something that works perfect right out of the package, and I've messed with it, I've changed it, and I've tweaked it, and I've gone back to just pull it out of the package, rig it up, chuck it. And that's this bait. I mean, the jackhammer, the gold shiner, the 4-inch diesel minnow redfish toad is just, it always works. It's a staple. So one of the most joyful things about doing this, putting into a river, going upstream, is looking up around the next bend. What do we have to look forward to? We got some islands in the middle, little scrub islands, some nice little foam pockets. I don't know what's at the back there. Does that cut through, or is that, I don't know, just slack water on the back of that point? Got some ledge rock there, nice eddy, and it kind of bends around to the right. It's just endlessly satisfying to just look upstream. What's coming? What's next? Part of that looking upstream to see what's next is deciding, especially on a river this size, smaller river, which bank, which side should I be on? In that side, I mean, none of it really looks shallow on the bank because everything goes up around here because we're in the mountains. But I don't know, this just looks a little more dynamic on this side, and then I'll switch back over. So every time I bring that finesse jig in and I swim it, I didn't see it that time, but I did get popped in there. Just a ton of, and same thing with the jackhammer, just a ton of, I don't know, 8 to 11 inch smallmouth. Just chasing it back in and tugging at the tail. Got a bald eagle. I don't know if he's gonna show himself. All right. There he is. Briefly. Seen him twice. I actually saw a beautiful, totally lit up male oriole, and this part of Pennsylvania, this time of year, early May, you see the orioles. Gorgeous when they have a nice song too. But yeah, he landed, and I couldn't get my camera up and out of there quick enough to like really get him on film, but I think I'll probably see another one. But out of all the orioles that I've seen in the wild, most of them have been up in this Raystown Lake, upper Juniata area. Most of it like downstream from Raystown, but this is the region, and they're, for whatever their migration is, this is, you know, early May here in this part of Pennsylvania has them. All right, I've moved up closer on this this island, and that I looked at from a distance. Looks like it's fairly shallow tapered, so I don't think it's probably gonna have much depth there. But if you look at this side of the island, on this bank, some steep banks coming down, That's kind of the side I think looks best to me. But look upstream, look at that major log jam from whatever the last big flood was. Really deposited, I don't know, it looks like about 7 or 8 feet of just solid like jumble. This shoreline looks good to me. I'll put the finesse jig on it. There we go. Nice, crisp, pop, pop. Oh, that feels good. Second one in that foam eddy. Oh, you like the gold jackhammer. Rear anchoring to be able to hit this pocket here effectively. Love having 2 anchors on this inflatable. I think the inflatables, more than other boats, really need anchors, but having 2 is just, the positions that you can get in with both front and rear anchor are sort of endless. I see a nice foam pocket up there, and looks like a good place to put the finesse jig. Got nothing on the finesse jig, and I've thrown the gold jackhammer in there a couple times. I'm surprised nothing bit in there. It just seems like a really beautiful looking swirly foam eddy. Snagged up over here. That's why the motor's so awesome. Just slide right in here. Across all that current. Very nice. I love my finesse jigs, but not as much as I love this rod. I wonder if I can get them off with the plug knocker. Let's send the plug knocker down. Bounce on that a few times. I think because I set the hook so hard, if I can see where it is. All right, plug knocker did the trick along with, you know, some help from the paddle. Good deal. So I made another pile of these yesterday, and the bristle guard for this, I know it's going to be hard to tell the bristle guard from the skirt, but it's like this when I make it, but then before I throw it, I split them, and I kind of spread them out, and the longer you fish it, the more it goes back to this. I got to push it out, and that does help with, you know, the brush snags, which that's what that was. That was a brush snag. And I don't know that it wasn't one that was caused from a fish pulling on it and me pulling back after he had dropped it, and then it just found the wood. That happens sometimes, and there's no way around that. I love my jackhammer, but I definitely hear the spinnerbaits calling. I can't remember where I picked that one up. It's got a big old eyeball on it. Love these big gold blades. I'm glad I did retie. Look at that. You can see that abrasion. Got one on the spinnerbait. I'll just leave you on as a trailer. Yep, I got a stickfish. I had one tugging on it before that stickfish latched on though. That one really is a trailer. Yep. Yep. Well, I like the ambition. Okay. It's actually starting to rain, which means I get to switch hats and put away this camera. Don't like putting this one away because it gives me such versatility, but part of that versatility is not the fact that it's waterproof, because it isn't. Yeah, nice big rock bluff eddy coming up. Whole lot of foam, a lot of swirly foam. So I don't think I have any really good sized fish on moving baits. It's all been on stuff that has been bottom bouncers and not thrown the center jerk shad at all. Probably a mistake. Oh, guy in the pinch off. You're not who I was looking for. I have no idea why I've caught basically nothing of significance out of this hole. It's really deep. I let my anchor down like in 3 or 4 different places. Actually, I let both of them down in 3 or 4 places, and it was at least 12 foot deep in one spot. So the rain went in the hood, even though the hat helped protect my head, but it caught it. Rain gathered in that hood. I moved a little bit and it just poured it down my back. So I think I'm gonna walk back down to the truck, because this is still the state park here, and get my sweatshirt. Yep, cold. That took about 45 minutes, and I walked pretty quick, so it was maybe 3 miles down and back. It's worth it though. I know it's wasted time that could have been productive time, but you know, you gotta keep yourself comfortable. If that means getting warm, putting some dry clothes on, it's important to do that, because you don't fish well if you're cold and wet. Really nice little rock to wedge on to catch this rock bass. Hi. So the numbers I catch of these little guys is countless. Like every time I start swimming the jig back after letting it sit in a really nice foam pocket. Yep, there's one. He didn't eat it though. They chase him out. There's just tons of them that size. shoreline eddy with right above a rock outcropping. Oh, we got a different species. Look at you. Oh, we got off. That was a decent fish on the spinnerbait just a second ago. A little bit better. He might have been the one that was on the spinnerbait. It's sad when 13.5 inches is better. A lot of little ones today. All right, the sun finally really came out, and you know, I keep thinking there's so many places further down in the Juniata, all over the Susquehanna, that I know I could be right now, slinging 17s, 18s, 19s, 20s, 21s. Really good spots. Why am I here? Yep, getting text. Why am I here? Well, there's something about catching, and that 19.5. I was happy to catch that 19.5 in a place where I'd never been before. It's that ethic of exploration. It just feels better to catch a 19 where you didn't know there was a 19. And, you know, I've not been, I think I walked the bank further up from here like 20 years ago. And just getting out in a section that you've never been on before, I don't know. It's got a little bit different feel than the Juniata that I know pretty well below Raystown Lake. Little different feel. Little steeper, narrower mountains. There's a whole lot more to explore. So this is just the last section, and I'm gonna keep cruising. I got, I don't know, maybe 4 more hours today. Probably keep moving upstream for 3 of those, and then I'm just gonna sling a spinnerbait the whole way back down, moving quick. But you know, it's the ethic of exploration is why. I don't even, actually I know one other person that's been up here and fished this. That was Juan Verut. And he doesn't live too far from here. So, go explore. That's a good one. Finally, another good fish. Come in. Yes! Ooh, so few decent fish today. So I'm happy to see this one. Hi, fishy. What's up, skinny? Moving that jig slow on the bottom in eddies, and the only way I've caught decent fish today. No moving baits. They're just not, bigs are not chasing. But finally got into some, we're going to take a look at this habitat. A little bit better looking habitat than what we've seen. And yep, 17 3/4. It was creeping along just outside the eddy. And yeah, thank you. Let you go now. We'll take a look at where this guy was. Nice 17 3/4. We'll go ahead and let him go. See you later, fishy. That's his eddy. He hit out here. I'd cast all the way up in that mess. Didn't hit it there. It wasn't until he was out in this current here that he whacked it. But like, it had to be sitting in the same spot. I don't know, 12 seconds, I bet. That's my guess. I don't. It's like you go back to doing winter stuff. So 19 and a half, 16 3/4. That one was 17 3/4. From 16 3/4 down, I think the next one might be 14 inches. That was a little guy pecking at it. Like, it's weird. As many 15 and 16 inches as I got last time out, it's weird to not be catching those up here. Look at one there. Better than average for the day. Can't believe we're gonna look at a spot where I caught a 13 and a half incher. All right, I actually missed a bite there. This rock sticks out a good bit. These little brushy areas are diverting some flow. And what I saw that caught my eye and where this fish was, we're gonna go ahead and move in there. I saw the shadow from a distance. So we got this rock here, but right out from it, there's another one under the surface. I could see that from a distance, and I pulled it off of there and let it flutter down in here. And what's been nice, it's not particularly deep. It's probably 16 inches deep. What's been nice though about these bites, these jig bites, I haven't had a single that was like just there. They've all been pow, which is enjoyable. So when you let a bait sit, it's an interesting sort of thing to ask yourself, especially when you are successful getting one to bite after it like all of my good fish today have been baits, this bait that sat in one place, I'm going to say for 12 seconds or longer. The question I ask myself after I do that is, what gave me the faith to like cast there and then to be that patient with it? Like, I'm being patient with a spot right here, and yeah, what do I see? I see a steep bank. There's swift current in between here and there. Not like crazy swift, but like good current. Along that bank, I'd like to see more rock. I actually see more rock up there. This is mud, but it's steep mud. And I think there's probably rock out there. Why am I going to be patient with this? I don't know. I mean, I could go down a list and talk about pattern development sets and I mean, I can't really do that because I got 3 good fish with which to create a pattern. It's instinct from years and years of doing this, and say when they're not chasing in early May, well, an eddy that looks like that is worth at least 12 seconds. I think I've given it a couple minutes. So, time to move on. But I'm not moving on, am I? I still have faith. You want to see it? So, bottom moving water, come back. I could care less about that piece of wood, what it does. We got rock. The place where I was letting it sit, I mean, it's not totally still water, but there's this, like I said, steep bank. I don't know. It looks good to me. It hadn't given me anything yet. All right, time to move on. Try to find the next spot that I have 12-second faith with. Okay, this is interesting. This was in that 12-second spot. It was associated with that eddy that I let it sit, but this is the first time I've had one hit it moving, and I was just reeling it back in. That's a good fish too. Interesting. Take a look at this one, and we'll take a closer look at this spot. It gives me hope that this one, I just felt it load up, like what what the dinks have been doing all day, but like this foam just excited me, and we're gonna start back there, and I'm gonna show you my thoughts on everything up to where that one hit. But it's a big foam eddy with a good rocky substrate, and we'll see how long this guy is. But again, above average for the day. Everything on that black finesse jig. Another one at 17 3/4. Nice. All right, starting to knock down some better fish here. See you guys. All right, let's take a look at. I slowed down actually once I got to here and was assessing it, right? And to assess it properly, you can't be hammering on this. You can't be going too fast. I'm looking at the foam bubbles, and honestly, I could right away, looking way up there, see, yep, there's a big fat wide part of that foam, and I knew I would fish it, but I honestly was a little bit more excited about this bank here. I didn't get anything on it, but it has this little point that sticks out into it that kind of pushes at least the surface current out a little bit. Mind you, I've been cruising. I've been moving quickly, throwing a spinnerbait until I got to right about here because I liked how this looked. And then I slowed down. And then I said, I'm going to pick up the jig and I'm going to pick some 12-second let it sit spots. And, it was longer than that. It actually wasn't. I fished this for like, I don't know, a 6 or 7 count. This next part right here, I let it sit there for like 30 seconds. I just like how it cuts back in there and you got the wood there. More than anything, it's just look at that foam pattern. It's lingering back there. Fairly steep bank, lingering foam. But that fish was like out here. He hit. I was here and he hit there. So had he been sniffing at it while I was dragging it up in there? Maybe. Whatever. It's a a wide foam pocket that I put the jig down there, and it's got a nice hard rocky substrate. The presentation aside, whether it was sitting or swimming, I had the right instinct. I said, I got to slow down and work this area. And I don't know how to impart that to somebody. I mean, I can show you what I saw, but sometimes time on the water and just experience and listening to that voice in your head that says, slow down, this is it. You don't get that overnight. You get it with just doing it. All right, we're going to work on a little bit of a different skill here. And we got the motor back there, and it needs a certain depth. And I want to get up there. I want to go all the way up there. And I'd like to not have to drag it up the bank. So let's kind of visually assess. I know if I'm looking here, I'm seeing some shallow. I don't think it's going to eat real well there. We got one obstruction all the way out. And contrary to what you might think, I'm actually going to head towards that, because usually a rock that sticks out all the way tends to scour out deep water on either side. So I'm going to skirt right. I think I'm going to go to the right side of it. Yeah, we're gonna see if I can get up through here. I'm gonna bang. Like, I know I'm gonna grind somewhere, and hopefully, yeah, it's banging. Right next to this, maybe a little bit deeper. All right, that's the first area to pass. If I moved in this direction, especially as I get towards that shore, there's a lot of shallowness. And it's kind of the same thing as running a rapid. I'm actually going to go to where I see the bigger, bouncier stuff. There's some shallow obstructions, though, in that. I might look back at some of that mid-river stuff. We'll see. Actually, I'm going to split between that and that. There's one there and there. I don't just mash it. I kind of ease up on this thing. I'm probably going to bang a bunch there. I'm sliding just to the right of it. Now I'm going to gun it, because I split the upright, split between the two. All right, there's a bunch of rocky stuff here. There is depth. I can keep going right up through the middle, but this has fewer surprise obstructions. I don't want to go all the way over, because then you can tell it gets real shallow. But there's fewer obstructions here, and I visually assess that it is deep enough to see if I'm right. But yeah, if I were to do it there, I could have gotten through there, but I would have had to navigate through some obstructions. I'm most of the way up at this point, but I guess the point of doing this is to, I guess, talk about reading water for navigation, running up through stuff. I know that jet boaters are very good at it. They get good at it out of necessity, because you don't want to smack if you don't have to. I just, for the heck of it, just started swimming it, which I've done all day today, here and there. They're gonna eat it. They eat it on bottom for sure, but slow swimming the finesse jig. I just feel like I've struggled most of the day, and part of me thinks I just found I went up far enough that there's better habitat, which is exciting to me. Look how dark you came up. I love Elaztec. Here's why. Look at that. Most of that's from small fish just ripping on it, ripping on the tails. And it's, I don't know how many fish I've caught on it. Like, I haven't told GoPro to start recording on half of them because I know that they're dinks. More than half. And, oh, there's an osprey. It's just, it's an amazing material. That I got 2 packs of these baby goats in that color, and I'm not at all worried about, oh, there's a good fish. That was swimming it. Not at all worried about the, about running out. Like, not on this trip, not on the next, not on the one after that. Like, I'll lose these by breaking off the jig, probably. Now, this one will probably be retired at the end of this trip, but, you know, it's good stuff. It's a really good value. I just caught a white perch. These little suckers. Harvest them if you can. If you like eating them. I'm not going to mess with this one, but man, they do a number on a bass bed. I just didn't feel like cutting them up. It's interesting they're in here. You don't usually catch them in the river. I think, you know, it's a reservoir fish, at least to me in Maryland. It's it's for sure a tidal water fish. Catch them up in the creeks in the spring. But yeah, I'm sure they're up here because the smallmouth are spawning, eating eggs. Yeah, there's a lot of DNRs and state agencies that look at the white perch and put up regulations that say no limit, take as many as you want, because they can be so destructive to the other species, what they do at, you know, whenever they spawn. Hello, fat. You got a nice belly. So I grew up in Rockville, Maryland, and Swain's Lock on the Potomac was a like 7.5 mile bike ride from where I lived. And doing this, oh, nice jump. Nicer fish. Doing what I'm doing with this finesse jig and the baby goat, kind of has me feeling like I'm 13 or 14 years old on the Potomac in front of Swain's Lock, swimming a grub, because I certainly did a lot of that. It's very similar. I mean, these little, they do this the whole way. They just kind of, and it's a grub. The goat is a grub of sorts. Different design, but it's a grub. Oh, there, guy. Oh, broke it off. Dang it. I should have retied a while ago. That's totally on me. That was the biggest of the day. That may have not been longer than the 19 and a half, but that was a thicker fish on this beautiful rock face. Oh, what did I do? I even looked at it and I'm like, I really should retie that. Oh, dummy. Okay. That fish jumped a few times. So, would you like to know why I procrastinated on the retie? It's because the leader, because I had been retying, and the leader got shorter and shorter and shorter as I retied. And I was like, yeah, I can get through the rest of the day. That being said, I'm using the Gamma. That was Gamma 10 that broke. Man, that is the strongest 10-pound test fluoro I've ever used. It's good stuff. But yeah, that was just the cumulative effect of, like, I don't know, 80 fish just chewing on that. Yep, I was going to throw a spinnerbait all the way back down, and nope. I was swimming a stupid black finesse jig. Alright, this may be up as far as I'm going to go today. That rapid, it's not very menacing, but like it's one that I would have to get out just because of how it's laid out. I don't see a single deep path, mostly because it's split. This is an island. There's water there, and there's limited water coming through the main chute because it's kind of split in two. But it is after 6. I think I got to be out of the park at 8. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's correct. I have to find some new access points up here, and I don't think I'd use the park again, just because there's... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just didn't do something right down there, but it just didn't feel like it had a lot of great habitat. This habitat on this upper end did well, so I'll be back, but probably further up. But this was a good first trip to this above Raystown. But yeah, I'm gonna let's mark the waypoint. I got waypoints where I've caught the fish that I've caught so far. Like, I do this series of waypoints and I write stuff down, but yeah, I will mark that and save it. All right, I did 4.374, whatever. I did over 4 miles. Got 4 miles to get back down, and I guess I just run to places I've caught them. This PB&J isn't bad, but I definitely need a cheeseburger on the way home. No, that's a snake. So what I was talking about earlier in terms of how long it takes to break everything down, get packed up and get out, I just timed myself just under half an hour. That's a metric that that needs to improve, and we will be designing trailers and other accessories to achieve that goal. All right, got my cheeseburger. Been looking forward to. I think if there's a lesson from today, it's that it doesn't matter what you think they should be eating. It only matters what they think they should be eating. You know, I forced and tried spinnerbait, jackhammer, and I caught some fish on them, crankbait, but not many. It wasn't until I switched to the jig that I started catching them, but I was investing a lot of time each dead stick 12-second or longer presentation. It was working, but I wasn't covering much ground. And later in the day, I did have one. So of the 5 big bites that I got, 2 of those 5 were swimming. I wouldn't have ever guessed that would have been it. But swimming the finesse jig with the little legs kicking on the baby goat. Oh, why that? I don't know. It doesn't matter why. It just matters that you watched one eat it, keep doing it, and you're gonna get some big bites. So good exploration day. I enjoyed it. It's probably not a section I will go back to, but there's so much more of the Juniata above Raystown to explore. I think it's a strong fishery. I don't know yet whether it is a consistent big fish fishery. We'll find out. I'll keep exploring. Thanks for watching.